Before history was written, before the first empires rose from the dust, the world may have already fallen once. The story we tell ourselves about human progress is one of a slow, steady climb from primitive caves to sprawling cities. But what if that story is missing its first and most dramatic chapter? What if our civilization is not the first, but merely the one that survived? The evidence, scattered across the globe and buried beneath millennia of earth and ice, suggests a forgotten Epican age of astonishing achievement that was erased from memory. Our conventional timeline of human history begins with small bands of hunter-gatherers, slowly evolving over thousands of years. But in southern Turkey, a structure shatters this timeline. It is called Göbekli Tepe, dated to nearly 12,000 years ago. It is 6,000 years older than Stonehenge, 7,000 years older than the pyramids. This was not the work of simple foragers. It is a complex of massive, T-shaped stone pillars, some weighing up to 20 tons, carved with intricate depictions of animals and abstract symbols. To build it required immense organization, a shared belief system, and a level of astronomical and engineering knowledge we never thought possible for that era. Göbekli Tepe doesn't just predate pottery, metallurgy, or writing. It predates the invention of agriculture itself. It forces us to ask a difficult question. Who were these people, and what else did they build? The mystery deepens as we look at other ancient wonders. From the precision-cut stones of Pumapunku in the Andes to the megalithic temples of Malta, early civilizations demonstrated a mastery of stonework and logistics that continues to baffle engineers today. They built structures weighing hundreds, even thousands of tons, without the aid of metal tools or modern machinery. Many of these sites, from Karnak in France to Nabta Playa in the Egyptian desert, are aligned with stunning accuracy to celestial events, solstices, equinoxes, and the movements of distant stars. This implies a sophisticated, long-term understanding of astronomy and advanced geometry, knowledge that supposedly took humanity thousands more years to develop. How did societies we label as primitive achieve such feats? Some researchers now believe these are not the first steps of a new civilization, but rather the faint echoes of a much older, far more advanced one. They are the last defiant remnants of a world that was lost. So, what happened to this world? Where did its people and their knowledge go? The answer may lie in a period of cataclysmic global change. Around 12,800 years ago, the last ice age came to a sudden and violent end. This wasn't a slow, gradual warming. Scientific data from ice cores and geological strata reveals a period of extreme climate volatility known as the Younger Dryas. Temperatures plummeted, then skyrocketed. The great ice sheets that covered much of the northern hemisphere melted at an unprecedented rate, unleashing unimaginable quantities of fresh water into the oceans. Sea levels rose dramatically, not by inches, but by hundreds of feet in a geologic instant. Imagine colossal floods sweeping across continents, entire coastlines and low-lying plains disappearing beneath the waves. This scenario is supported by a growing body of scientific evidence, including a controversial but compelling theory, the Younger Dryas impact hypothesis. This theory proposes that one or more fragments of a disintegrating comet struck the Earth, triggering a global environmental collapse. The impact would have caused continent-spanning wildfires, blotted out the sun with debris, and initiated the rapid climate shift. Any advanced civilizations, especially those built along the fertile coastlines of the ancient world, would have been utterly annihilated. Submerged under the rising seas, their cities and knowledge lost forever. Could this traumatic event have been so profound that it was seared into the collective memory of humanity, Across the globe, from Mesopotamia and ancient India to Mesoamerica and the oral traditions of indigenous peoples, we find a recurring story. A great flood that wiped out a sinful or arrogant world, leaving only a handful of survivors to restart civilization. The Epic of Gilgamesh, the story of Manu in Hindu texts, the legend of the Aztec fourth Sunol, tell of a world-destroying deluge sent by the gods. For centuries, these were dismissed as mere myths. But what if they are more? What if they are the distorted, fragmented memories of a real, global cataclysm, passed down through countless generations? They are not literal historical accounts, but they share a common, terrifying theme. The world was washed clean, and humanity was forced to begin again. If a global civilization was indeed erased, what was lost in the catastrophe? The answer is, perhaps, everything. We lost their knowledge of science, engineering, and astronomy. We lost their art, their culture, their history. The survivors, scattered and traumatized, would have been focused on one thing: staying alive. The sophisticated structures of society would have crumbled. Skills like writing, advanced mathematics, and large-scale construction would have become useless luxuries in a desperate world. Humanity would have been thrown into a dark age, a planetary reset that lasted for millennia. The inheritors of this broken world would have had to rediscover everything, from the basics of farming to the laws of the cosmos. This great reset might explain one of the most enduring puzzles in archaeology: the sudden and seemingly miraculous appearance of advanced civilizations around 3000 BCE in Mesopotamia, Egypt, and the Indus Valley. Complex societies with writing, codified laws, monumental architecture, and sophisticated science seem to emerge almost overnight, with few clear predecessors. Mainstream history struggles to account for this abrupt leap. But if we consider the possibility of a restart, this explosion of culture makes more sense. It wasn't a beginning. It was a recovery. It was the moment humanity finally climbed back to a level of complexity that had been lost thousands of years before. The 6,000 years between Göbekli Tepe and the rise of Sumer are not a slow climb. They are a long, painful gap in the historical recorder period of forgetting and rediscovery. This documentary explores archaeological findings, scientific research, and historical theories. Some interpretations, like the Younger Dryas impact hypothesis, remain debated within the scientific community and are presented here for educational and exploratory purposes. The narrative of a lost civilization is a powerful lens through which we can re-examine our past. But it is crucial to distinguish between compelling evidence and speculative theory. The search for truth requires an open but critical mind. The story of a world before our own is not just a fascinating historical mystery. It is a cautionary tale. It reminds us that civilization is a fragile ecosystem, precariously balanced on a planet that operates on timelines far grander than our own. We build our world on the assumption of stability, believing that our progress is irreversible. But the stones of Göbekli Tepe and the flood myths whispered across millennia tell a different story. They are a warning, written in stone and memory, that our permanence is not guaranteed. They suggest that nature holds the power to press the reset button at any time. This forces us to confront a humbling thought. If an advanced world did exist before us, a world so sophisticated that its faint echoes still puzzle us today, what trace of our own civilization would survive the next great reset? What would remain of our digital world, our global infrastructure, our accumulated knowledge, after 10,000 years of ice, water, and earth? Would future survivors look upon the rusted skeletons of our cities and wonder who we were and how our world was lost? Thank you for watching. Follow for more journeys into the forgotten corners of history.